risky things to do. And sometimes we tell them to go for counseling, marriage counseling, which I have to tell you, once there is abuse, there's no role for marriage counseling. You have to go to the domestic violence hotline and deal with the experts in the field. And very sadly, a lot of times we just accept our fate. We say, this is our fate. I have to, this is how I have to be. But the problem with that is, very importantly, the children get severely damaged. So this is a situation where you cannot just say that it's my fate, I will deal with it, I'll protect my children. Believe me, children don't get protected. When they hear abuse, when abuse is going on, even if they're asleep, their brain shows changes that show that they are being affected negatively by this kind of a problem. So in order to protect our children, why is it so important? How does it affect them? Young children think that family tensions are their fault. So anything going on wrong in the family, they automatically feel responsible for it. So then that makes them feel guilty and they feel it's their fault. So even children who even just witness domestic violence or abuse, they are impacted emotionally and physically in terms of they can develop poor self-esteem, guilt, anxiety, depression, and sometimes even physical problems like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and obesity. Children who witness abuse are 10 times more likely to abuse their own partners. So it perpetuates the cycle of violence. So we have plenty of handouts outside which detail what, no, we have to go back. Detail what are respectful behaviors. One more. So this is a list of respectful behaviors. I'm not going to read them out, just look at your handouts. And then the next slide is unhealthy behaviors. So if you notice any of these may apply to you, then it's time to take action, time to talk to people, try and address it before it causes any damage. Then come the red flag abusive behaviors. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes. So the problem, this again is based on this persistent pattern of power and control. So the behaviors here are hurtful, threatening, insulting, and demeaning. The person mistreats the other person and does not respect their feelings. And just remember that any hitting is a red flag. They may accuse the other person of cheating, having an affair. They may give excuses for their actions, and they may tell you that it's your own fault. The one person controls the other. Excuse me, please, a little bit of silence. I'll be done in 2 more minutes. So they may control the other. So you have to remember there's no equality. Equality is gone. They may isolate the partner from family and friends. They may force sexual activity and pregnancy. And they may control the money. They may not allow the partner to work because they don't want her to be independent. They practice manipulative parenting in terms of telling the children lies about the other partners. We have plenty more links to online articles, books, and short films on our website, and you can find that information on the in our handouts outside. Next slide, please. So the bottom line is, don't accept disrespect from anyone, anywhere. You don't deserve to be treated disrespectfully or abused verbally, financially, or physically. Abuse is never your fault. Next slide. So abuse is never your fault. Always call for help. Remember that. I'm not suggesting supplying to you, but anybody in that situation, if you see anyone, you have to remind them to give them this kind of advice. And so help is available. There are a number of agencies depending on where you live. You can call the number, and they are highly trained experts who will handle each and every call, and they'll give you advice that has been proven by research to be effective. And nobody's going to force you to do anything. Sometimes you can just call to just vent because you don't know what to do. They're not going to force you to leave. They're not going to go ahead and call the police on your husband or anything. But what they will do is they will give you a lot of practical advice. So if you only remember three things after you leave here today on this topic, each one is numbered a 1 on purpose because they are so important. Just educate yourselves about healthy, unhealthy, and abusive behaviors. Call the hotline anytime you suspect unhealthy or abusive behaviors. Even if you're not sure, just call them, they will tell you. Small discussion groups, if you form small discussion groups and go over these common problems like how to discipline children, how to handle the in-laws, how to handle general disagreements that occur in any family, and problem with people at work. Just spend 5 minutes talking about these topics. Read about these topics before you discuss amongst yourself because you want the right kind of information. All that information you can find on that website. There are several links there that are useful. Last slide. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I want to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to spread awareness on this important topic in our community. And a big thank you to the other members of our group. There is Ritu Jain, who's present here today. Thank you very much for coming. And Dr. Rani Gandham, unfortunately she couldn't be here today. And also I want to thank my father, without whose support and extensive research and passion for this topic, I would not have been able to collect this much material. So we thank you to him as well, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Dr.